Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm going to read 3 verses this morning. This is Lord Varaha chastising Hiranyaksa. And then it moves into another session. So the verse number is 10, and then 11 and 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Text 10. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Satyam Vayam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yushmad Vidhan Mrigaye Gramya Grama Simhan Namrityupashai Pratimukta Sabira Vikatanam Tava Granantya Bhadra. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yushmad Vidhan Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pashai Pratimuktasya Vira Katatanam Tava Granantya Bhadra. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yusmad Vidhan Mrigaye Grama Simhan Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yusmad Vidhan Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pashai Pratimuktasya Vira Vikatanam Tava Granantya Bhadra. Ladies. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yusmad Vidhan Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pashai Pratimuktasya Vira Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayam Bhavana Gocharamriga Yusmad Vidhan Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pashai Pratimuktasya Vira Shri Bhagavan Vacha the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. Satyam, indeed. Vayam, we. Ho, oh. Vana gochara, dwelling in the forest. Mrigaha, creatures. Yushmat vidhan, like you. Mrigaye, I am searching to kill. Grama simhan, dogs. Na, not. Mrityu pashai, by the bonds of death. Prati muktasya, of one who is bound. Viraha, the heroes. Vikatanam, loose talk. Tava, your. Grananti, take notice of. Abhadra, oh mischievous one. Strong words. The Personality of Godhead said, indeed, we are creatures of the jungle, and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. One who is freed from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging, for you are bound by the laws of death. Purport. Demons and atheistic persons can go on insulting the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they forget that they are subjected to the laws of birth and death. They think that simply by decrying the existence of the Supreme Lord or defying his stringent laws of nature, one can be freed from the clutches of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of God, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But demons and atheistic persons do not try to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they remain in the entanglement of birth and death. Text 11, translation. Certainly, we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time because, having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. Purport. The demon should have known that God cannot be driven out of any place. He is all-pervading. Demons think of their possessions as their property, but actually everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can take anything at any time he likes. And text 12. You are supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers, and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word. Purport. A demon may be a great soldier and commander of a large number of infantry, but in the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is powerless and he is destined to die. The Lord, therefore, challenged the demon not to go away, but to fill his promised word to kill him. We find in scriptures sometimes in the mood of chivalry, different forms of the Lord at different times will say insulting things or words that are purposeful to inspire a fight. In other words, rather than simply attacking, he can do that. Doesn't need a prompt, but he's just observing the protocol of the other person wants to fight, and so there's a fight, and then he does what he does during the fight. Vinachaya Chaduskritam. So chivalrous words to inspire a fight, because Hiranyaksa has already spoken insulting words, sufficient to bring about his being finished. But as you may recall, one of the reasons, one of the principal reasons for the descent of Jai and Vijay from the gates of Vaikuntha guards to this material world is because of their intimate association, knowing that the Lord likes chivalrous combat. It's part of his joys. And no chivalrous combat in Vaikuntha. So, if you like, we can take that role and provide chivalrous combat. So they're doing that. They, Hiranyaksa, is doing that. And the form of the Lord that appeared before Hiranyaksa is inspiring a fight because he wants a fight. I mean, it's not material. Because some persons in the material world, they just, if there's no cause for a fight, they'll pick one and then fight. It's just, that's their pleasure. This is a transcendental happiness. And so one of his dear devotees has taken the role as combatant. So chivalrous talk to inspire. And back to the earlier, Hiranyaksha's got a big mace and he's chasing after the Lord, hurling insults. Why are you running away? Stand and fight. What kind of hero are you? Heroes don't run like this. Stand and fight. We heard what we heard. Why the Lord was doing what he was doing. His main business was not dealing with a barking dog. His main business was to give protection to the earth. That's the first order business. And now comes the fight. Vinashaya Traduskatam. So he wants to finish this fellow. Now, finish the fellow means there's a nice discussion somewhere later in this canto. It's not that Hiranyaksha got liberated, or that he went back to Vaikuntha. Not that kind of liberation. What happened was, when the whole battle was done, the soul left the body, the Hiranyaksha body, and he went to, doesn't say where, but some higher planetary arrangement where he was like in a holding pattern, waiting for the next 2 births to take his birth, and then descended, and then returned to Vaikuntha, when killed by Krishna. But liberated in the sense that the sins and the reactions for the sins was wiped away. And his purpose was still, the tendencies were remaining, but the purpose was fulfilled. The Lord descending to minimize the influence of demons, particularly these two, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Back to the purport, Prabhupada is writing, Demons and atheistic persons do not try to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they remain in the entanglement of birth and death. Yesterday evening and the day before yesterday evening, we heard the puzzle condition his brother, Hiranyaksa was in when he tried to kill his son, who couldn't kill his son, trying this and that, and then the other thing and the other thing. You couldn't kill him, as powerful as he was. He's incredibly powerful, or extraordinarily powerful. And his little boy, you couldn't kill him, tried this and that. So he was puzzled. 2 plus 2 generally equals 4. If he has powers that surpass Hiranyakashipu's powers, then he's not going to be able to defeat him. But he doesn't reach that conclusion. And that's the nature of demoniac mentality. Now, how can demoniac mentality be converted? Depends on the circumstance and many other things. But some demons are incapable. So Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, by design, they're not capable of getting it. So he, in this case, Hiranyaksha, doesn't get it in part because he doesn't want to get it. He wants to fulfill the purpose of battle. Because he did what he did, the earth fell out of its orbit, and here comes Lord Varaha, a boar incarnation that rescues the earth. He's interfering with his business. So he's angry. And he's chasing after him. He's very powerful. But where's the power of Hiranyaksha come from? Hiranyaksha is not thinking, my power was derived from some higher source. It's kind of simple. Where the power come from? No, it comes from austerities. One who does austerities gets powers. Okay. Those that do austerities and get powers, where do the powers come from? Fruitive work in the mode of passion and fruitive work in the mode of ignorance doesn't consider where everything is coming from. It's not part of the program. Passion and ignorance cover such thoughtfulness. Or the other way, mode of goodness promotes the thoughtfulness that can help one, at least in principle, discern there's a higher power from which powers are coming. Let me find that higher power, or the powerful. So demons are not inclined in that way. That's what this purport is saying. Ignoring reality, then there's the struggle. Do something to get strong, to get power, to get fame, to get something. And then with that acquisition through my sacrifice and austerity and whatever got me the greater strength that I now have, I'm the topmost guy. And then going around here and there and asserting oneself until you meet a stronger person. And then what to speak of the Supreme Person. So next, certainly he's speaking third person. We, not I. That's okay. We have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala. The charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala means the earth planet. He, Varaha, rescued the earth planet or stole the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala and have lost all shame. No, there's nothing to be shamed about. He's giving protection to the earth, but lost all shame. So you can take it in two ways. He's shameless. He's to be punished because he's shameless, or there isn't anything to be ashamed of. Although bitten by your powerful mace, I shall stay here in the water for some time, because having created enmity with a powerful enemy, I now have no place to go. Meaning, there's the negative and there's the positive. He's all pervasive. He's accepted a form on the one, so that's a feature of a Leela avatar personality. He's accepted that form, or manifests that form. But he doesn't have to go anywhere because he's all pervasive. But the other side is where someone seems to be intimidated by another powerful person. I have no place to go. So you cornered me. We'll have to fight. It's not. You can be taken. So Hiranyaksa may take it. Aha, he's afraid of me. I thought so. I have no place to go. I can't run and hide. So I guess let's have a fight. Then you are supposed to be the commander of many foot soldiers, and now you may take prompt steps to overthrow us. Again, it's third person. Not me, it's us. It's not me, it's we. Us. Overthrow us. So you're a hero, you're a courageous, bragging personality. You have some very strong words to say. So let's put it to test. Let's do battle. Give up all your foolish talk and wipe out the cares of your kith and kin by slaying us. Again, it's third person instead of me. You're claiming you're going to do. Put your words into action. Let's have battle. So, throwing down as they say, throwing down the gauntlet. Let's have a duel. So they throw their glove down. Let's have our duel. I'm ready for the fight. It's chivalrous talk. So before chivalrous combat, chivalrous talk. It's suitable for the occasion. One may be proud, yet he does not deserve a seat in an assembly if he fails to fulfill his promised word. Your promise was you're going to slay me. Give it a try. Because already, what in previous verse, what Hiranyaksa said is, what kind of a hero are you? There's a combatant wants battle with you and you're running away. What kind of hero are you? Stand and fight. So there was other business, we heard, yet he was concerned about protecting the earth. And now he's turning and inviting the combat. You made a promise. And what kind of hero are you if you can't fulfill your promise? So give it a try. I'm just stepping back from the pastime. In one sense, it's kind of unusual the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking like this. He can just, with a lift of his eyebrow, man's finished. When any one of his senses can perform the activity of any of the other senses. He doesn't need to even lift his eyebrow. But all the demigods are watching, and it's a show for their happiness, and it may look like it's going to go the other direction, and so they're experiencing their emotion, and then he finishes him. So there's so many layers and factors moving in the Lord's Leela. But he's, Atmavan Manyate Jagat. There's a saying that says, one thinks of other people as one thinks about oneself. So he's saying insulting words. So let me say some insulting words. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's do battle. May the best man win. But it's a Leela. He knows who the best man is. He knows the outcome. But it's playfulness, and then is the back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You could finish him in a fraction of a second, but there's some, we'll hear, back and forth, ministering blows, and because Hiranyaksa is very powerful. He's not a small fry. But compared to the Supreme Lord, he's a small fry. Battle scenes. I asked, I forget the circumstance, but one circumstance I was dealing with young people, and I asked, what's your favorite sections of the Bhagavatam? And like universally, it's battle scenes. They really like it. So, here's a battle scene coming up. Let's see if there's some discussion. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have two questions, and those are related also. So, first I was wondering if Hiranyaksha, does he remember his previous identity by any chance as Jaya or Vijay or no?
Do it again. I got 10%. Do it without it. Do it without it. Just speak. Hiranyaksha. Yeah, Jai Vijay. What? Oh, no. No. He's covered. Varahadev. Of course. It's pastime. I mean, he's omniscient. So the omniscience includes, there's many parts of the backstory, but it includes, they prayed, if you so desire, we can fulfill this role of giving you chivalrous combat. So he knows. And he's giving, there's chivalrous talk and chivalrous combat. And they're pleasing him. In the role of Hiranyaksha, they're not thinking this is for his pleasure, but it's for his pleasure. They're devotees. And it's not just actors on a stage. They're in a certain mood, genuine mood. And they're not just play acting. There's enmity. But the enmity is a covering, because beneath the covering there's who they really are. Great devotees. Great devotees. To be a gatekeeper of the personality of Godhead in Vaikuntha, they're great devotees. So it's a privileged position. They're remembrance of their previous position, Jai Vijay, is not with them. They're covered. Let's just say, supposing there's some dramatists enacting such a pastime. They're just saying their script and, doing things that is according to the script. So they're not just reading a script, play acting, thinking, I'm really Jai and Vijay, and I'm just doing this script acting. It's not like they're covered. But beneath the covering is who they really are. Carrying out a pastime for the chivalrous pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So we understand that, but they're not thinking like that. That's your question. Something else?
When the Lord says, I have nowhere to go and I'm shameless, is this him being sarcastic, or is it an expression of his humility? Or
I touched on that. It's there's the transcendental sense of I'm shameless, and there's the material sense of I'm shameless. So my sense of it is, other commentaries of other acharyas, I don't know. He's speaking in such a way that the person who's hearing is thinking on one way, and he's thinking in the transcendental way, as if he is afraid, as if he is shameless, shameless to run, and so forth. But, I don't have any shame for you're the one to be shamed, if anyone's to be shamed. So he's not saying that. He's saying, so it has at least two ways to read, that he's not feeling ashamed. Is that right?
But there are places where Krishna seems to just have fun.
Yeah.
He's like playing around.
But he while having fun, he's reciprocating. He's churning the yayatam mam prapadyante. Oh, you'd like me to be your enemy? Okay, I can be your enemy. And to be your enemy, you'd like to feel that I'm afraid of you? Okay, I'll speak in such a way that you can feel that I'm afraid of you. You're so powerful. Yayatamam prapadyante. It's a lila. And then on the transcendental side, it's the lila where Jai and Vijay are getting the opportunity to satisfy the Lord's desire for chivalrous combat. It's nice. Yes, he's having fun. And he's reciprocating loving dealings. There's multiple things with one thing. Multiple purposes being fulfilled.
Another point, Guru Maharaj, where the Lord is referring to himself in the third person.
Yeah, isn't it interesting?
And sometimes Srila Prabhupada also uses we.
Yes.
And my understanding is, he says he never felt the separation from his spiritual master. So when Srila Prabhupada addresses in these kind of, pronouns.
There's other ways to take it as well. It's rather than being self-centered, it's on behalf of. So yes, connection with Bhakti Siddhanta, we, but not independent-minded. He's acting as an instrument of, thus we. Yeah.
And finally, I also didn't understand, Guru Maharaj, the link between, so the residents of Rasatala, Rasatala is referring to the earth?
Rasatala is what?
You said the residents of Rasatala refers to the earth planet?
No.
I didn't get
I didn't
that.
say that. The earth had gone to the lower regions. Now, the term Rasatala indicates in the lower regions. So the earth had settled near the bottom of the Garbhodak Ocean in that region. No, then comes cosmology and how does this work? Are the lower planetary systems submerged in the Garbhodak Ocean? They're lower planetary systems in any case. And exactly where the Earth had descended in the lower planetary regions is also not so clear to me. I mean, it does speak of the bottom of the Garbhodak Ocean, but why is the Garbhodak Ocean considered to be filthy? And so he went in the form of a boar because boars go into filthy places, and he lifted the earth out of a filthy place. So how's the Garbhodak Ocean a filthy place? I mean, there's some questions I don't have answers to. But the reference is the lower planetary region where the earth had settled, and he had deprived the residents of Rasatala of the earth's presence there, in the lower region of the universe. Anything else?
Maharaj, I was thinking about this controllership and enviousness. As a conditioned soul, maybe we were very envious of Krishna and we descended here. And then if I look at myself, how many births, millions of births I have taken, time immemorial, I'm still here. What is that every birth based on what happens, I don't know, is the enviousness nature downgrades slowly? How does it work?
What was the last part? I got don't say the whole thing, just the last part.
The enviousness nature is degrading slowly.
Well, it can go up and down. The position of living entities can move up or move down. It's not always down. It depends on, so the position depends upon our free will choices. And then the free will choice indicates our behavior, our activities, karma, and the modes of nature with which we associate. So someone who's in a higher mode can descend to a lower mode. Someone in a lower mode can ascend to a higher mode. And then have better activities in a better position in the repeated endless cycle, up and down. Not only down. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is a question about impersonalists. From Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, I read
Chapter
12. Srila Prabhupada writes that even the impersonalists perform bhakti unto the Lord, otherwise they cannot attain what they can attain to Brahman. Otherwise, without that bhakti, they only attain suffering. Something around these lines. So, what kind of bhakti are they?
I'd like to see the passage before I make a response.
Okay.
Because the statement standing alone could mean many things, and the proper way to understand a statement is the context. Anything else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Not too much of a question. It's just I'm glad that I came for today because this first sentence of text 11, when I read it, I texted Pratibahu and I was like, indeed, we are creatures of the jungle and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. I think that's such a great analogy for a spiritual person kind of like with an atheistic person. Like, we're one and the same, and here you are hunting me. And, I was wondering how you take that analogy, I guess.
It's same as I said before. Lord Varaha, is speaking according to his audience. And Varaha, is speaking words that are intended to inspire the chivalrous spirit. Not that that Hiranyaksa doesn't have it, but it's just like inciting him to fight. So he's speaking, you're looking at me as the body, and you got a body too. I'm hunting persons like you. So it's chivalrous talk to inspire chivalrous combat. And it's very poetic, and it does the job. Customized for the audience. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yesterday you mentioned to know the Lord means to love Him.
They have songs like that.
Yeah. So I was thinking there are so many stories, or there are recorded things about so many devotees who had really natural love for Krishna, extraordinary love for Krishna, and Krishna had reciprocated to them in that same way. Particularly, there was this one lady, a Brahmana lady. I just recently came to know about it. She lived 350 years ago, close to Guruvayur temple. She was a Brahmana lady, and she was known as the mother in that place because her husband, who was an elderly person, he died very young, when she was very young. And Krishna had real direct reciprocation with her, that in her old age, Krishna came there as a child and really played with her. And it was recorded and in the Guruvayur related stories. So her relationship with this boy, without her even knowing this is Krishna, it was so spontaneous, and he was really playing with her as though a child would play with a mother. And in the end only she realized that this is Krishna. So in those kind of incidences that are recorded, it's quite obvious that some devotees have that natural love for Krishna without even any inclination to have knowledge per se. So when we say to know Krishna means to love him, but then it can be the other way, to love Krishna, then automatically you know who is Krishna. I don't know, some good fortune, some devotees are like that.
So you want me to comment? What? Okay. There's sadhana bhakti and there's bhava bhakti. And sadhana means you learn about the object of love. And the learning about the object of love inspires the shelter taking and respect and the proper regard, so that bhakti becomes matured. And then there's the spontaneous platform. It's not dependent upon anything. But most of us are not on that platform. So Generally speaking, we're speaking, the statement to know someone is to love that someone. That's the sadhana perspective. It's not to discount that someone can be on the spontaneous platforms somehow by previous association or previous birth or something that's been bestowed upon them. Okay, you have something? Online question?
So this is from Amara Mataji. It's from yesterday's class. Actually, she sent yesterday. So she asks, living entities fell from spiritual world and forgot Krishna. And so similarly, Jai and Vijay fell and forgot their relationship with the Lord. So the Lord is all-knowing and he knows the position of living entities as well as Hiranyaksa, how they fell. So, but his anger, is it to fix their present forgetful behavior?
Is it what?
Is
Just the last part, please.
anger, is it to fix their present forgetful behavior?
The Lord's anger? Well, there's two, there's a premise in the question that requires more careful articulation. The fall of the jiva topic. So I don't want to go there. But the premise of the question places, once upon a time, we're in the spiritual world. We looked at our watch and we said, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. And then the living entity fell. Because, they made the wrong choice. As if it's an event in time, once upon a time. So I don't want to go there, the fall of the jiva topic. Now, the other part of the question, which was the main force of the question, I'm commenting on the premise of the question. But now I forgot the main question. What's the main question again? Just the last part. Oh, okay. It's a past. It has it's many layered purposes. In the case of the exception is not the rule. The exception is the exception. That is, the fall of Jai and Vijay is the exception, not the rule. So they don't need to be fixed. Rather, it's a lila. And the lila is a lila of chivalry, and for there to be chivalry, there has to be some anger. You can't have a fight to the finish without anger. Now, is there such a thing as a transcendental anger? Of course. It's different than the other kind, the frustration anger. So it's a lila. And the outstanding feature of this and any other of the Lord's pastimes, it's a pastime. And with pastimes, there's a flow of emotion, back and forth, this way and that way. It's part of the nature of pastimes. There's rasa, and then there's secondary rasas and primary rasas, and so there's the topic of rasa tattva. And it's loving dealings. So for the purpose of the lila, then there's some feelings and some harsh words and some this and that and the other when it comes to combat. In this case. But it's not just stereotype. I mean, for example, Krishna is running from the battlefield with Jarasandha, and Jarasandha chasing him, and Krishna keeps running. He doesn't turn back. And then Jarasandha thinks, he's a coward. Just see, I knew it all along. It wasn't because Krishna was a coward. He was egging him on, and he had some other more important business than dealing with a barking dog. It was time to marry Rukmini. So off he went to marry Rukmini. So there can be a response to the question is there can be multiple reasons why, not just one, of why the Lord may exhibit anger. And, it's not easy to discern. There can be multiple reasons why. This, at the same time, multiple reasons. It's to augment the Leela. Remember that there's demigods watching this whole scene. So they're, somehow they're able to hear the Lord speaking and Hiranyaksa speaking, and so they're glued to the television. They're watching the movie, and it's exciting. So there's angry words. There's different layers of why harsh and angry words may be spoken. That's it. Thank you very much, Prabhupada Ki Jai.